All right, so hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on the Slanted Lens, we're interviewing Scott Jarvie. He's a photographer who lives in the Utah area. I should say, actually, if you just drive towards Utah, when you hit Zion, take a left, and somewhere up there you'll find an Airstream trailer, and that's probably where Scott's going to be at. So Scott, welcome. It's great to have you.
Hey, thanks.
So you do live in your Airstream trailer, travel and shoot.
Yeah, so what happened is I started a project a couple years ago where I went to all 50 states photographing religious buildings. And so to do that, I got an Airstream trailer. And when I got done with it, I was like, what's the point? I get to travel. I get to be amazing places. I'm totally comfortable. It's just me. So I'm still in it. I love it.
That's excellent. So that project, traveling to all those places, turned into several books for you, did it not?
Yeah, so I finished one book of LDS temples, and then the other was religious buildings. So I photographed a couple thousand different religious buildings, and we're still finishing up, sorting through a couple 100,000 pictures, 3,000 different buildings.
That's incredible.
Quite the experience working on publishers.
Yeah.
But it should be out next year.
That's excellent. You know, I've done photography long enough to know that 3 books is probably not going to feed you for the year. So what else do you do in your life to keep yourself solvent?
So I've been a wedding photographer for about 10 years, up until a couple years ago. I do that. I do a lot of pictures for YouTubers. I play around. I travel a lot, that sort of thing. I also use Patreon.
Okay.
So I have an audience over there that helps
support. Talk about
support.
Patreon just a little bit. I don't know a lot about that, so just briefly.
So Patreon was designed for like the Kickstarter for people that continuously come out with something. So when I did my book, I did a Kickstarter because it was a one-time thing. However, I'm continuously coming up with content and videos and stuff people enjoy. And so I have a lot of patrons that will support me in a crowdfunding sort of way. And they get awards and for helping me out.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. So this process of traveling around and doing photographs of religious buildings, share an experience about one of those that was really kind of personal or kind of helped set the tone for this experience.
Okay. The first experience, like a couple days after starting, I was so far behind in what I was doing. Like I was newly traveling with an Airstream and staying up late, driving the day, getting tired, and I was like 2 days behind on my trip to Maine to get fall colors. And what I learned was amazing to set the stage that things don't go the way you plan all the time, but sometimes they're better than you plan. And you think you're frustrated, you're in the middle of nowhere for sunset, absolutely nowhere in Nebraska. And some guy with a purple mohawk comes up to you and says, you need to go to this church that's over here, this historic church. And so I go and have like the most amazing experience as this lightning storm rolls in, lights up this like perfect Midwest little building that I couldn't even see without the lightning. It was pitch black. And just like this picture I'll never forget. And it taught me to like, yes, have a plan, but be willing for amazing things to happen and not so have a stranglehold on your plan that you're unwilling to see, the forest through the trees.
Yeah, it says a lot about you as a photographer because a lot of people go, oh, my equipment's going to get wet. We better get in. It's dark. There's nothing here, I mean, it kind of says a lot about your tenacity and your drive to do this.
Well, that's certainly one thing that's been a constant throughout the photography career is I've been somewhat obsessive and just super long days. I think a lot of photographers will put in long days, but it's like consistent. That was 300 or close to 400 days of waking up almost every sunrise and then, staying awake till well after sunset and just driving, go, go, go. You're not necessarily doing the things that you always like. Photographing religious buildings is great, but it's not like the most exciting thing I've ever done, like it's not like going to Hawaii and spending days on the beach, or going to, I love Italy or Scotland. Like it's not like exploring castles over there. So it just says like I was going to get that project done no matter what, even if I had to like, spend every minute to get it done.
I often say to people that I feel like the satisfaction I get at looking at the images when I'm done make it worth the pain I had to go through to get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
it's
that's part of why I'm a photographer is because when I started, I you know, uh, what drove me was the people like looking at my pictures and they're like, "This is great," and I'm like, "You think so? Thanks. I'm gonna have to keep doing this." And it was part of that. And
yeah,
maybe they had no clue what a good picture was back then, but it kept me going
got you going.
to where it kept me going.
Yeah. So is your background as a photographer, or I mean, what was your training?
No, I was pretty much almost done with college and I was learning languages. I was taking language classes and I went to Europe to work at a supermarket. And I took a look, Walmart was selling these little digital cameras. And they're 4 megapixels. And I was like, I better buy one. I'm a poor student, but I bought one. I went to Europe. I took a ton of pictures, what I thought was a ton of pictures. I came back, it broke. I was at a camera store, and I was like, these cameras are $200, and I don't want to buy another one. And then I saw the big cameras, and I was like, oh, to dream. But luckily, I am an impulse buyer, so maxed out my little student credit cards and said, "Oh, let's do this." I wasn't planning on making it a business whatsoever. I just kind of like fell into photography because I just did it and more. It wasn't about making money, but at some point I said, "Look, if I can do what I love and not have to do this 9 to 5, which I'm not built for anyways,
Yeah.
then all the better." And I did kind of cheat because all my family are artists.
So
So
you have this background in your life. You understand and appreciate art.
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like that was a blessing, that was a skill that I kind of was ingrained with, was to recognize something good. And then the very techie nature of like, I love buttons. I love figuring things out. Give me more buttons on this camera. So the tool wasn't, I didn't see it as this big, oh, this is scary. This is an impediment to creating art. I'm like, this is a fun thing. I'll have to figure this out. And I
Yeah.
spent tons and tons of time trying to figure out how to use the camera. And then I could look at the picture and say, well, that's not quite right. Like that needs to be better. How do I do that, with this tool?
Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. So in this journey, I mean, who supports you the most? I mean, who's your mentor? Who is it that you feel like inspires you and keeps you moving?
Well, I think that the most consistent support that I've had has been like, well, my family, but in particular, my sister, Sarah, who's a photographer, that does it part time. She works at it at college, but she was the photographer in the family. So
Yeah.
we kind of both got our digital cameras around the same time, and we talk to each other every week about like our ideas and stuff like that. So she's like that sounding block that I was always able to talk to. Back then, I knew no photographers. I don't think I had a friend that was a photographer for a couple of years
Yeah.
into it, and I didn't know any photographers. I mean, I was able to jump on lynda.com and like learn how to use the software to edit. Like this was before Lightroom, and then when Lightroom came out, I was like, oh, I have to learn this.
Yeah.
But it's perhaps a benefit and a drawback to the fact that I never had a like a big mentor or someone I didn't know any photographers. I didn't spend
Yeah.
time looking online, and I think that's cool. But also, I guess it made me who I was. The fact that I never looked at it, and I had this amazing experience. Um, Years into photography, and I was like, why is everyone doing like things all crazy? Why do they have to feel like they have to have like this crazy unique style? Like, why don't they just take normal pictures? And then I was like, oh wait, as a linguist, as someone that spoke languages, I was like equating. I'm like, why does everyone feel like they have to have an accent? And I was like, oh, I think I have an accent. Like I thought my picture was just like I'm taking a normal picture.
Yeah.
And why does everyone have to be crazy?
Yeah.
Why don't they just take normal pictures like me? It's working for me.
So we all, it's the way we all see things from our perspective. It's really interesting. But
Yeah, we don't think we have the accent.
yeah, exactly. It's like they're all out of step except for me. All right, so Scott, sounds like you've done a lot of things. You've done weddings. You're shooting your books. But as all creative people, what's new and next for you? What's coming up?
The biggest thing by far, the biggest thing by far. So it's an idea I had about 3 years ago. I had to put it on pause to do that trip around the country, and then it came back up during the trip. Hundreds and hundreds of hours driving around. I was thinking, okay, this next project. How am I going to develop it? How am I going to work on it? And for the last 3 months, I've been pulling 80-hour weeks, and we're about to announce. The time this is, as you're watching this, it is now live. The Photography Decathlon. I'm creating a business that will put on photography events all around the country. Similar to how there's the Tough Mudder, the Spartan Race, the 5Ks, everything for this other hobby that is very popular as well, called running or hurting yourself, as the Tough Mudder is.
Abusing yourself.
But we've happened to have a hobby and for us a career that we love and that a lot of people happen to love, and that's photography. So we're bringing this idea of that people get to explore this area, create pictures, and bring in the feel of competition that will push them to get better, that will motivate them, much like a marathon motivates a person to go out and train and run and have this thing to look forward to.
So tell us, Scott, just kind of in a capsule, give us a layout of what this event looks like.
Okay, so the Photography Decathlon is like a team event, 2 to 4 people come and compete during a 2-day span. They're all given the same locations, the same amount of time, 2 days, and the same objectives. And so we see what they're able to do in those 2 days, and then they submit 30 pictures. This is like we were talking about, like it being like a Tough Mudder, like a 5K. These things happens all over. So we are doing our first public big one here in Utah, but then we'll move and start doing them in other locations. We have some preliminary events. They can go check out photodeca.com to see where we're going to be, to request to go to that area. Maybe we're already planning on heading there. So yeah, that's their experience is they go and they photograph 10 different styles of photography and upload them by Saturday night, just like everyone else is on the same playing field.
That's fascinating. But so people are going to do this on different levels. You're going to have somebody who's just there for fun. They're going to take some pictures and have a good time with their buddies, and others who are going, we're going to kill this thing. We're going to make it happen.
Exactly. So they can go in there and they can choose to be an intro, and that's like everyone there is not photographers, or intermediate, where it's kind of like, well, I don't know, I'm not quite advanced, but like I have a DSLR or I have a camera that I take really good pictures with, because we're not picky. You can shoot with whatever you want. And then so there's the advanced, but then we're also doing pro level. So this is where like a company like SmugMug or a camera company like Nikon or like even Microsoft or like GoDaddy sponsors everything. They could put together a team that represents them and come and compete in those. And obviously, some people that are really good at photography, they don't need to be sponsored. They can come in and play in the pro level. We're not saying that those people are, paid professional photographers. We're saying that they are competing at such a high level that we consider pro.
So if you're a professional photographer, you said, hey, I'm going to get my buddies together and we're going to come out and we're going to really compete in this thing. We're going to make it happen.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
That's fabulous. So who sponsors your event?
Right now, we've got ABCs on board, and they'll be doing a promotion throughout the year, and that's for the Utah event. So, and then we also have a travel company who is putting together about $100,000 of travel packages as incentive to winner, such as like a trip to a 7 to 10 day all expense paid trip for the entire team to like a photographer's dream destination. We've told them to arrange Iceland, but it could be, you may have to settle for New Zealand or Africa.
How hard would that be?
But we were really excited because they jumped on with that. They said, we'll make that happen, and we'll put in another 10 travel packages to, for the lesser prizes and stuff like that.
That's fabulous. That's really fun. Well, so in this event, I mean, I think it's so amazing that you come to a place, you shoot the same place, all the teams have an opportunity to photograph the same place, then you see how and what other people did. It really is going to be an eye-opener for the people participating, because you go, wow, I didn't even think of that, man, or I just think it's an incredible concept. Yeah.
And they get to explore some of the most beautiful places for this event in Utah, or when we do Hawaii, they get to, that's like the dream vacation. You get to see all of Hawaii in 2 days, and then go hang out at the beach afterwards and wait for the winners.
All right. Well, Scott, thank you very much for your time and sharing your event. Is so exciting to us. I mean, we want the Slanted Lens to be involved in every city you go to. We want a Slanted Lens team there.
Nice.
People who want to learn about photography and be a part of what you're doing. So any parting words of wisdom to anybody who's going to prepare to get into this? Any thoughts?
Yeah, now you have an excuse to tell your spouse, like, I have to go out and prepare. I can't let my team down. I put money towards this. I can't let the team down, and I'm going places. Well, but that sort of thing. I think that now you can have a directed method to prepare and get better and focus your education in photography.
I'm thinking to myself that I should do a JP's 10 item guide to getting ready for the decathlon. Here's 10 things that I would do to prepare myself.
Exactly. I like it. And 10, very good.
We'll work on that
with the theme.
That's right. Got to be 10, because that's what we're looking at. So
yeah,
that's excellent. Well, you know what? It's interesting to me, because I believe that most people talk about photography more than they do photography. And they now YouTube about photography more than they do photography. And I think what you're doing is fabulous, because this is going to get people to go out and to do. So I would just tell my listeners, my audience, don't be afraid of this. Get in there, whatever level you're at. Go out, participate. Make some mistakes. You'll go back and you'll do it again in another year, and you'll be better for it.
Yeah.
And it'd be great camaraderie, great experience, great opportunity to grow. So that's what it's going to be, is it not?
I'm loving this. I'm like, he's saying what I tend to say to other people, and I'm like, I love hearing this back.
That's great. Well, we're on the same page, so I look forward to being involved with you. Absolutely, Scott. I think we see the world in very similar ways, but probably photographically in very different ways. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it all work, and that's what makes it all go around. So
yeah,
I think that's fabulous. So, well, thank you for being on. Thank you for taking your time. We know this is right up to your test event, and so when this airs, the first event will have just happened, or just about to happen. And so we're looking to the big event next September. So
next September. See you guys all there.
All right. We'll be there. Thank you very much, Scott.
Okay.
All right. We'll keep those cameras rolling. Keep on clicking. Everybody starts their lighting career with a reflector. Well, not everyone, but most people that want to improve their light. So I put together a digital download that is all about reflectors. How to make them, how to use them, how to make them effective, how to use them by yourself when you don't have an assistant. Everything you need to know about reflectors is on this digital download. So go to theslantedlens.com/reflectors and you can purchase it there. It's going to teach you all the things you need to know to make reflectors a useful tool and improve your lighting. Don't forget to subscribe to the Slanted Lens and like us on Facebook and check us out on Twitter. And I even put one image on Instagram. Only one.